Like most feudal lords, the Sicilian aristocracy were rich, but did no work themselves. Their lives were dedicated to pleasure, and no palace was complete without a ballroom.
Imagine this place, lit by 1,000 candles. Dark, handsome princes wheeling their elegant, dazzling women in a waltz around this room. And the mirrors on the ceiling repeating to infinity the image of the dancers beneath. And everyone dizzy and spinning with champagne. They must have thought the dance would go on forever.
But the aristocracy spent beyond their means. In the late 19th century, the princes of Pelagonia, like many Sicilian nobles, had to sell up. It was the end of an era. Palermo is the capital city of Sicily. Its elegant streets are lined with magnificent buildings and statues, amongst the finest in Italy. But step off the main streets, and it's a different story. The city was badly bombed in the Second World War, and it has never recovered.
I'm in the center of Palermo. It's incredible that after all these years, these buildings have been left like this. Why? There is a word that might explain it.
After the war, money was siphoned into mafia-controlled building projects on the edge of town, and the center left to rot. For several decades, Palermo was a difficult place to live. And as late as the 1980s and 90s, violent death was common on the streets of the city.
Sicilians see death kind of like un parente noioso, a boring relative. Not too much fun to be with. But since a visit is inevitable, one might as well make the best of it.
Until a decade ago, when it was outlawed, it was common for people to have picnics on their family tombs. Flowers and picnics is one way of dealing with death, but under the ground here is another.
Faccia bene, sono Fra Donatello.
Francesco.
Benvenuti, benvenuti.
Per visitare le catacombe è
Sì, è possibile, con piacere. Questo è l'ingresso, vi potete accomodare. Va bene?
Di qua?
Sì, di qua, ecco. Accomodate, vi accompagno per dove.
Grazie.
Faccio il corridoio. Accomodati, va bene? Andate sempre avanti, arrivate giù e poi ci sono 6 corridoi. Va bene?
Grazie. I've been here only once before, as a boy, and I was fascinated by it. But I know you British have a problem with death. So those of you who are a little sensitivo may want to cover your eyes.
For the past 500 years, this has been the resting place of the Capuchin monks. They didn't like to bury their dead, but to embalm them. At first, only monks were interred here, but then anybody who could afford it could find a home here too. There are special sections for men, women, lawyers, doctors, and priests. There are about 8,000 bodies here.
Once you get over the shock of this cemetery, it is empowering. We spend so much of life worrying about death visiting us, so it's nice to go visit death. And when I'm bored of her company, I can leave. Ciao.
I'm heading for the airport to pick up someone very special. She's coming in on the flight from Venice.
In my tour through Italy, I've tried to show you the things that make us unique. But I still have to show you the most valuable thing. For us Italians, it's more important than religion, art, or politics. Mamma.
The relationship between the Italian male and his mother is sacred.
E I capelli?
Come sempre.
He never grows out of her control.
Aspetta che ti apro io.
Grazie.
Affezionata a quella gonna un po' lunga, così elegantemente anni 50, pettinate come lei.
My mother's family have been in Palermo for 500 years.
E questo è un alloro?
No, è un ficus di rosa.
Her family, the Dukes of Archirafi, once owned the land in the center of town, which is now the Botanical Garden.
E perché mi hai portato qua?
Perché volevo farti vedere un posto dove sono stata da bambina.
E ci venivi spesso da quando eri piccolina?
Abbastanza. Venivo col nonno. Vedevo le serre, mi insegnavano i nomi degli alberi.
Mi ricordi?
Adesso non più, ma prima sì.
My mother is going to take me to the old family home where she was born and where my cousins still live.
E siamo arrivati.
E qui ci sono i tuoi ricordi?
Sì, che adesso passo a te e tu ai tuoi figli.
Un passaggio generazionale?
Giusto?
Come un testimone?
Sì, è la vita.
È la vita che continua.
Anzi, direi l'immortalità.
E quindi posso curiosare nella tua vita passata?
Così curioso anch'io.
Perché per me è un buco nero.
Vedi come ero aggraziata anche no? Qua
Erika piccolina, carina. Cicciolino. Ah, questa
è la foto del mio matrimonio.
Non eri da buttare via.
No,
Eri giovane, quanti?
22.
22 anni. Com'è stato il matrimonio?
Bello, piangevo sempre. No, sono arrivata ridendo e sono uscita piangendo, emozionatissima.
Sembrano proprio altri tempi.
E sono altri tempi. Infatti dico sempre che sono del secolo scorso io. Questo è il piccolo.
Il piccolo sarei io?
Sì.
Ah, lo chiami il piccolo?
Ma sei ancora il mio piccolo.
Guarda qua.
Seeing these photos, it makes me think about my own children. It seems so long ago I left them behind in Venice.
Adesso ti faccio vedere qualche altra cosa.
Ti seguo.
Andiamo. Vieni.
Ti seguo?
Sì, ti faccio vedere prima le cose in giardino.
Ah, ok. Che ne so?
Non conosci il giardino?
Sì.
Apriamo di qua?
Presa? Devo ancora riprendermi.
Cincina, papà.
Vediamo! Che grande che sei diventato! My journey has come to an end, and I have to say, it is difficult for me to come to a conclusion about my trip. We Italians say our country is un bel casino, a beautiful confusion, not to be explained, but experienced. But what a journey. It was great fun, no?
Arriva il caffè, dai, che sennò si raffredda.
Coming up next tonight, Michael Scott heads back to Athens for part 2 of his brand new series as the ancient Greeks learn to see the funny side in the greatest show on earth. Next.